Good morning and welcome to the EZFX trading room for August 22nd, 2016, Monday. My name is Bradley Freed, and for the next 20 to 30 minutes, you'll be joining me for a review and update of our watch list that we last looked at last Thursday. If you have any questions during the broadcast, I'm taking questions live on our chat room on this page. You can post your question at the end of the broadcast. I will answer you live. We can look at charts, we can look at trades, we can look at anything you want. If you're watching the recording, please feel free to send a message to me via the community. You can send me a private message via our website, community features. You can post to the trading room group, which I'd encourage you to join and post to actively. And I would, you can also send a good old-fashioned email to ezfxsignal@gmail.com. And I'll give you that email address again at the end of the broadcast. So let's go ahead and get started by reviewing the watch list from last Thursday. As of that day, we were watching the dollar CAD buy, euro dollar sell, pound and pound Aussie buy. Our new and open trades of the dollar peso buy was open. So was the pound yen buy, pound Aussie buy, pound CAD buy, and pound Swiss buy. Also the euro pound sell and the Aussie Swiss sell and the CAD yen buy. And these last four were signal trades. So let's go ahead and go to the charts. We'll review these setups. I've also sent out a couple signals since the market opened Sunday evening, New York time, and we'll be sure to look at those as well. All right, so first thing I want to look at is the dollar CAD. I did send this out as a signal. This was also on our watch list. This trade is currently open, and it's actually doing pretty well so far. It's never over till it's over. Open trade. I'll put 2 stars by it because it is, I did send a signal out on it to all of you. If you haven't received signals, if you're a member and you haven't received them to your email, please contact me at ezfxsignal@gmail.com. I'll be sure to straighten it out. We'll make sure you're on the list. Okay, the dollar CAD buy was a pretty classic setup. The bubble, I think, was just forming when I was looking at this earlier. But we have a buy bubble, we have a Class A demand zone, we have a trend line break. And now we also have a triangular moving average color change. So all 4 things have appeared. We got in about right here. So we had a nice risk to reward ratio. We were paying about 100 and, was it that much? Yeah, I guess it was. Anyway, about 112 pips, and then for a target of 169 at the monthly pivot. And then further on, our final profit target is the weekly pivot from last week. And this trade is currently open, and it's moving towards its profit target. Next, we have, let's just see what else we have open. We have a euro dollar sell that I sent out last night. This opened with a Class A zone, and this bubble has become a more clear sell bubble now. It wasn't at the time of the entry. We had a trend line break, and now we also have a triangular moving average color change. This pair dropped and then has retraced a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if it drops again. There's an untouched weekly pivot down here. It's Monday. And it may just go further after that. But right now, this is just where we want it to be. This is still available to you at a reasonable risk to reward ratio. It's actually a better entry price now than it was when I got into it. So I'm going to call this a new trade because it is still available. We had euro pound sell. And this was moving along really nice. So we got in up here and then it dropped and then it retraced. And it looked like it was headed towards the stop, but now it's dropped again. I still believe this is going to move in the sell direction. I think we've got a lot more space to move down, at least to this 50% retracement on this move here from the low to the high. I think we can get there. It's just taking its time to break down. There's a lot of volatility, a lot of mixed opinions about this pair. So, but especially if the euro dollar goes down, I think this will also go down. And that's currently open here on our list. I'll just move it up here so we can kind of move down through the list organized way. Check these pairs. Next one, pound twist. Pound twist is a buy trade. It's also retraced in the opposite direction. Now it's made a higher high, and it's moving towards the initial profit target at the 50% retracement of this move here, which is the mirror image, the down image of this euro pound move that we're focusing on that pair. So this is moving quite well. And it's also open. Pound twist buy, another signal trade. Next we have the CAD yen. This has been open for a long time. It's currently moving sideways. We're waiting for a breakout for it to return to this target level here, the monthly pivot, or to get there anyway. It hasn't gotten there yet. We're still consolidating. It's more clear on the 4-hour chart that that's what's happening. We have a triangular moving average color change, but consolidation, waiting for a breakout higher that would take us to this monthly pivot. We haven't seen a catalyst for that yet, so I'm hoping that will happen. We've had other yen trades, they've all stopped out. This is the only one that's still with us. I'm hoping this one will survive until a catalyst that carries it higher, and we can get a win out of this that would erase any losses we took on the other yen trades. So this is currently still open. And it's also a signal trade. Next we have the Aussie CAD buy. I just sent this out, so you would have just received this. Again, we have a Class A zone down here, divergence formed right on top of the Class B demand zone down here, making it Class A. Buy bubble, trend line break. So 3 things that we look for. And our first target, I'm just using Fibonacci's on this one, would be the 50% retracement level here. Alternatively, you could use the weekly pivot from 2 weeks ago. This is almost exactly 1-to-1 now, which just barely meets our requirements for risk to reward. You can also, at your option, you could put your stop lower, and take closer to the recent low, and take a larger size. I'm just doing this exactly by my rules, and sized it accordingly. But this trade is also currently open. Aussie CAD buy. I haven't traded this pair in a long time, but I have had good luck with it in the past. So I'm interested to see how it's going to work with the latest version of our trading system. And I think the reason I haven't traded it was just in such a massive buy trade for so long that it wasn't producing signals for me. But finally we have a signal that's set up for us this time. All right, and moving on to this trade isn't open. This is one I'm watching, the Aussie Newsy. As the other Aussie pairs rise, this one has actually rose up and it broke through its trend line here. There's a Class A zone down here and not quite a buy bubble here, but it could be a buy bubble if it does reverse. If I get a strong close above this line, I'm willing to buy this pair with a stop below the recent low and the Class A demand zone here. Targets, again, I'd use the fibs coming from the trade space created by this Class A supply zone here down to this Class A demand zone here, and go for the 50% and the 78.6% retracement levels as profit targets. So I'm going to say this is also a new trade. It's not quite there. I want a little bit more confirmation. Be a buy, and it's going to be new. Aussie yen, similar thing. I'm watching this same kind of setup. There is a buy bubble further back. We can go ahead and mark it just to, but it did make a lower low after that, so it really didn't have much impact on the pair at the time. Usually I'm most interested in bubbles that happen right before a higher high and a higher low are made. So it's really an indication of the start of a reversal. This one put a wick through the trend line and then it dropped back again. So again, a strong close above the trend line. I'd be interested in trading this because this demand zone down here is so thick. The stop would go below the recent lows in this case. And we just do that and size it accordingly. As if it was a Class B divergence entry trade with no demand zone at all, but all the other, but with a trend line break as a complementary confirming signal. So I'm going to put the Aussie yen also as a new trade. Aussie Swiss, same thing. This time we do have a buy bubble that is formed. This is the second buy bubble in a row. We have a Class A demand zone down here. Looks like we're headed towards a trend line break of the trend line formed by connecting these two wicks here. So a clear break above that would be significant, in my opinion. Should that trade fire off, we can do what we've done on the other pairs. I'm going to get rid of the old fibs here. And we're going to draw new fibs from the high to the low to define the trade space that exists between the Class A signals that form the boundaries. And for targets, I don't think we're going to have a good risk to reward ratio with the monthly pivot, unfortunately. So I'm going to go for the 50% and the 78.8%, 6%, or the weekly pivot up here. You could also do that if you want a pivot-based target. And that would meet our risk to reward ratio requirements probably, but do check when you open the trade that it's still intact and that you're getting the risk to reward ratio that you need, which just to review, a minimum of 1-to-1 for target 1, a minimum of 2-to-1 for target 2. So I'm going to put the Aussie Swiss also as a new trade. And these just look the best. I've been kind of putting trend lines on them since last week. And they've just been slowly forming. So it's been a slow evolution, but these I haven't sent out signals yet, so it's not really fair. Mark them with stars. Or the Aussie news, you're right, just the Aussie cat. Okay, then we have, we've gone through these Aussie pairs. Pound Aussie, I've drawn trend lines, but it seems to be moving higher. I'm not gonna mess with that right now. Pound dollar is not really of interest to me either. It dropped real fast here, created a situation where if we'd gotten in, there was just a huge required stop. It's retraced, but the pound pairs seem to be moving higher. So I'm just not interested in getting into any pound trades against this counter trend move right now. Pound CAD, this was a great setup that I didn't get into. I wish I had. It's moved to its weekly pivot. It's on its way to its monthly pivot. This would have been really nice. Unfortunately, the risk reward ratio or the required stop was so large that I just didn't get into it. But it's beautiful. It's doing exactly what we hope for these things to do. Or actually, it was open. I'm sorry. We did get into that. I just didn't send it out as a signal trade. Let's talk about those. Let's start with this pound CAD buy, which is an open trade. We've talked about everything else. Latte zone, buy bubble, trend line break, and finally a triangular moving average. We'd set pretty aggressive profit targets on this, I think, because we got into it later to get our one-to-one. So we couldn't use this weekly pivot as a target. The initial target is a monthly pivot up here at 1.7139. It's moving that direction with the final profit target at and I believe it was a weekly pivot. No, it was another monthly pivot. Or was it? No, it was just a 78.8%, 78.6% retracement level on the Fibonacci. That's it. So this trade is open. It's still open. It's moving well. Depending on where you got into this trade, I think we got in like right around here or something like that. So we had a stop of, yeah, about 150. And this would have been a one-to-one, depending on where you got in, but I don't think it was for me. 390 for the first profit target. But it's moving along at a nice pace. Dollar peso buy. This has made a higher high and then it dropped and it revisited that initial profit target. So if you're in this trade, you've moved your stop to break even. And we're waiting for a break higher to punch through this supply zone and take us to the monthly pivot at 18.6. But this is still open. Finally, pound yen. Let's look at the pound yen. It's buy trade, broke out and retraced, and now it's kind of ranging a little bit, but looks like it might be getting ready to make a higher high. If it punches through the zone and makes a higher high, then it'll be on its way to our initial profit target at the weekly pivot here, which should be sufficient. Especially if you got in around here, then and your stop was down here too. Well, yeah, you'd have to have a closer in stop. But if you bought the retracement, I think we talked about that. If you bought the retracement here, you could have a stop down here for about 130. And then this target would be 260, more than one-to-one. And a final profit target of the monthly pivot at 450, 459. I'm just going to mark those so we remember them. I think I might have lost this chart last week when my charts crashed, but just go ahead and mark these again so we remember what we're talking about. And this is currently open. If it gives us a higher high, it's confirmation the trend is intact and it's going to keep moving higher. So I'm definitely hoping for that to happen. And I think the last trade on our list was the pound newsy. That's another open trade. No, it's not the last one, but it's close. And actually the Aussie Swiss, that's interesting. It says it's open. Yeah, there was a sell open, but if it is open, then I believe we closed it. Sorry, I'm going to check my signals real quick. Aussie Swiss sell. Yeah, we closed the Aussie Swiss sell, so this is a result, right? It hit the final profit target at 0.73137, which was a 78.68% 78.6% Fibonacci retracement. And we took profit. We took 186 pips of profit on that trade. So to update our list then, this Aussie Swiss sell was a win last week. And it's plus 186. And then let's look at the pound newsy buy. Trade is also open. It's moving higher. It still looks good to me. This was not a signal trade for us, unfortunately. But a trend line break, buy bubble. And I apologize for not having the original chart. I did lose my charts last week and I had to reconstruct these. Triangular moving average color change, at which point we would have had 3 points of confirmation along with this zone becoming class A with a divergence here. So you could have bought this pair. If you use the recent low and you waited for a retracement, there's a lot of ifs here, I know. That's probably why I didn't send this out as a signal, as I missed it. And there was a narrow opportunity to get into it. But I would have used the recent lows here. And for example, if you got in this cluster of retracement or here, you could have gotten in for below 150. And you could have had an initial profit target of 265 at the bottom of the zone. Final profit target at the monthly. That sounds pretty reasonable to me. And of course, there's further profit targets further up, but that would have given you the risk to reward issue that you would need for this setup. And that's looking at it now. That's how I would have traded it. And again, this wasn't a signal trade, but I do want to track it, if for nothing else, just so we can mentally practice and reconfirm that our procedure works and how we manage the trades. Okay, so that's all my updates for today. Let's see, I had a pound Aussie buy and a dollar CAD buy. I think I covered all that. Let me just double check. Pound Aussie. The dollar CAD buy we did send out as a signal trade, so that's already on our list. The pound Aussie though, let's just check that. There's the pound Aussie. And this trade has moved higher. We didn't really get in a buy trade on it, unfortunately. We're kind of looking at a sell trade setting up. So I would have a sell on here actually as a potential opportunity. I think this pair has recovered. You've seen some sentiment recovering around the pound. However, there's going to be a lot of volatility and negativity. It's going to have a hair trigger on it for some breakdowns too. So we're going to have opportunities to sell it as well as buy it. Anyway, that's all our updates now. We're getting a fairly substantial list of open trades, new trades. We sent out quite a few signals, and a lot of those are open. So I will keep updating you by email as there's changes or things to do with the signal trades, like move your stop or take profit or any of that stuff. And if you have any questions, please feel free. Let's just jump over to and make sure there are no questions if anybody's attending live. We don't have anybody attending live this morning, but I'm always hoping I'll see one or two of you show up. I know people are all over the world and this time may not work for some people, but please watch the recording if you can't watch the live event. You can contact me at any time by private message on the community right here. Just go to members and find me on EZFX, and there's a feature on here to send a private message just by clicking a button. You can also go to our groups, and we have a group for the trading room, and you can post to that group. You can post your charts, you can post questions about trades, And I'm hoping as we get more and more people in there, we'll be having conversations on a daily basis in there, and it'll be quite lively and entertaining for everyone. And of course, you can always contact me at any time at ezfxsignal@gmail.com. I'm here for you to answer your questions and help you if you have any difficulties or anything you don't understand or would like help with. And I'm always happily waiting for your emails. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll be back tomorrow with another installment of the EZFX Signal Trading Room. Until then, happy trading.